Hi there, this is Rishabh and I welcome you to the Python Hackerrank series wherein we are solving some Python problems. Cool, the next problem which we have to solve is the nested lists problem. Let us just go ahead and read about this problem. Cool. Given the names and grades of each student in a class of n students, store them in a nested list, okay, and print the names of any students having the second lowest grade. Cool, so this seems to be something very similar to what we did in the last problem. In the last problem, we were trying to find out the score for the runner-up, which was the second largest. But here we have to do the opposite of that. That is the second lowest. Note, if there are multiple students with the second lowest grade, order their names alphabetically and print each name on a new line. So if it happens to be the case that let's say there are multiple students with the second largest score, then what we have to do is we have to order their names in an alphabetical order. So which means that we need to sort their names basically. Okay, cool. Then here they have given us some examples. So 20 happens to be the lowest, then second lowest is 50. With 50 we have two students, that is beta and alpha, and if we have to print them in an alphabetical order, then they are alpha and beta. Okay, so yes, let's get started. I think the problem is kind of understood. So now let's go towards the solution. Okay, I explained in the last problem that whenever we are going to find something lowest, then we have to assume the value is the maximum possible. So let me import math and let me just have two variables, one by the name lowest. Lowest will be having the value of math.inf, and then I have second lowest, which is going to be, let's say, math.inf. Now they're calling this thing records. That's a good name, so we are also going to keep the same name. Records equals an empty array for now. Cool. Okay, so for this underscore in range int input, which of course they have given, now they have actually created this for loop. So let's just try to make the use out of it. So what all do I need to do here inside of this for loop? First of all, let me do records dot append, and I need to append the name and the score of the student. Cool. Now I think what we can do is we need to find the second lowest, and I think this for loop is good for that purpose as well. So let's just use the same logic we used in the last problem by just changing the symbol from greater than to less than. So if my score is less than lowest, then what do I need to do? I need to say second lowest will be lowest and lowest will be equal to score. If my score is greater than lowest but my score is less than second lowest, then I can simply say that second lowest equals score. Cool. So by now I know the value of second lowest using the same logic which we used in the previous video. If you want, you can go back and check it. So now that I have the second lowest, what exactly is it that I need to do? I need to figure out the students with the second lowest, and then I need to sort them alphabetically. Cool. So there are one or two approaches which are coming to my mind. So I'll be more focused on introducing the Python features to you rather than the most efficient approach for now. So there is a function called as filter in Python, which takes in a function for filtering and which takes in the list which we have to filter. So I would like to show the functionality of that to you. So let us just call them let me store this in an array only for now. So what we have to do is we have to say filter. Now we need to pass in a function, and there's a feature called as lambda in Python. So lambda are just one line functions, so I can give the arguments. So x basically is going to be my single entry in this array. So like if you see, this is my single entry, a name and score. My array consists of such entries where, so this is basically a nested list where each element is in itself a list which has first element as name and second element as score. Now what I need to do is I need to say x1, which means the second element of the nested list, that is a score, should be equal to second lowest. Cool. And now let me pass in the list which I want to act upon, and that list is my records. So let us just say records. Okay, and now it will return me a filter object, so I need to typecast it into a list. So this array will be having all those entries where students are having the second lowest score. Cool. Now the next thing which we need to do is we need to sort these students in the alphabetical orders of their name. Cool. So for that, I'll take another variable called as result, and I'll be using another function which is called as sorted. Now this sorted function also, it takes in the array on which it has to act, then it takes in a key. Now this key, so this is where we have to go creative. So I have to say x0, I guess. Cool. So this like just a second, key is equal to lambda x, where we are going to say x0 because there are two elements here, name and score, and I have to take the name when I have to sort. Cool. Now I should be having in the result, I should be having all the entries in alphabetically sorted manner. So now what I can do is I can say for, let's say, student in result, or for record in result, to be in sync with what we have written above. So for record in result, I can simply say print record 0. Awesome. Okay, so now let me just go ahead and try to run this code, and let's see whether it is working, not working. Cool, seems like it's working. Congratulations, you have passed the sample test cases. Awesome. So now let me just go ahead and try to submit the code. Amazing. Seems like we have passed in all the test cases. Yes, we have got some points. Cool. So the new features which are introduced in this specific video, let me just go through those features. First of all, I have introduced filter. Filter is a function which takes in another function for the criteria and then the records or the list on which to act. Similarly, there's a function called as sorted, which takes in the list to be sorted, and then we can actually define the key. This key we basically use when we have, let's say, a nested kind of a list. So here I am saying that for the key you have to use x0, which means you have to use the first element, which is the name. And other than that, I think everything else we have used before. So always remember, yes, I think lambda itself is new. So lambda is basically an anonymous one-liner function. So when you don't want to use this function anywhere else, you can use a lambda function and you can pass in the arguments. So x is basically going to be the argument here, and x will be like each element. So this lambda is going to act on each element. So we have to say that x1 equals second lowest. So this is the criteria for the filter function. And if there are any doubts from this video, because we have introduced some new things, so if there are any doubts, please feel free to comment and I would love to explain those concepts to you. And with this, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed solving this problem with me. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care and bye bye.